Queens of Steel, women who shaped heavy metal. This is part 1 of 3, the originals, pioneers of the loud. So they weren't invited to the table. They brought their own amps and burned the place down. Welcome back to Headbanger's History, where we crank the amps, crack open the archives, and we'll tell the stories that matter. This is part 1 of Queens of Steel, Women Who Shaped Heavy Metal, a 3-part deep dive into the women who didn't just participate in metal, they ripped it open from the inside. In this episode, we're going back to the roots, the OGs, the pioneers, the women who defied industry gatekeeping, outplayed their peers, and helped define what metal even is. So strap in. We're going back to a time when being a woman in metal wasn't rebellious. It was revolutionary.
So revolutionary, it's so bold and so brilliant!
Doro Pesch, the metal queen. Before Nightwish, before Arch Enemy.
It's bad. Wrong.
Arch Enemy.
Not too smart, huh?
Before YouTube comment wars over Growls versus clean vocals, there was Doro Pesch. Coming out of Dusseldorf, Germany in the early 80s, Doro fronted Warlock, a band that took the raw power of Judas Priest and drenched it in an attitude and theatrical fire. Her voice was leather and lightning, a powerful melodic roar that could go toe-to-toe with the best of them. Some of her key moments, or their key moments, Warlock's '85 album Hellbound was a European hit. It was raw, catchy, dangerous. In '86, she led Warlock into the Monsters of Rock at Castle Donington.
Playing Castle Donington was, I think, the best day in my life. We didn't know at the time that it would be so important, but it opened up all doors, and actually we did pretty good. The fans, they were so good to us. Everybody, it seemed like 100,000 people were into it, and then the journalists, record company people, everybody saw it, and then I said, okay, let's give that band a chance. It was Warlock at the time, and I think it was maybe 120,000 people.
The first woman to ever headline that festival. Her 1987 solo album, Triumph and Agony, became anthemic, with the single All We Are blasting through European airwaves.
All we are, all we are, we are all we need.
Also here in the United States. A quote from Dora: "I never thought of myself as a woman in metal. I just knew I belonged on that stage." Even now, she tours relentlessly. She's not nostalgia. She's a living legacy. Girl School, the NWOBHM, new wave of British heavy metal riot girl force. While Iron Maiden and Saxon were putting Britain's new wave of heavy metal on the map, Girl School came storming out of London with riffs, biker jackets, and a take-no-shit attitude. They formed in 1978. Girl School weren't a novelty act. They were a legitimate threat, and Lemmy of Motorhead knew it. He took them under his wing, collaborated on the St. Valentine's Day Massacre EP, and famously said they were more metal than most of the guys trying to play it. Some of their highlights, Demolition in 1980 and Hit and Run in '81, they're cult classics. They played with Motorhead, Scorpions, Rainbow, battling sexism on stage and off it. And their sound, it was raw. Punk-tinged metal, aggressive, fast, no nonsense. And despite being constantly compared to male bands, Girl School carved out a space that was theirs. They didn't just break barriers, they barreled through them at full speed. Lita Ford, a guitar hero, undeniable force.
Oh, let's get back to the cave for a little while. Oh.
Lita Ford was raised on Black Sabbath, influenced by Deep Purple, and trained in the cutthroat world of the Runaways alongside Joan Jett. But when the Runaways imploded, Lita went full metal. By the mid-'80s, she'd become one of the only women in metal being marketed as a guitar hero, and it was for good reason. Her solos screamed, her tone killed, her voice brought a mix of venom and vulnerability. Some of her notable milestones were Out for Blood in '83 was raw, wild, an underrated debut with biting riffs. Lita in '88, it went platinum, featuring hits like Kiss Me Deadly and Close My Eyes Forever.
I went to a party last Saturday night. I didn't get laid. I got in a fight. If I close my eyes forever.
With the great Ozzy Osbourne. Her stage presence was pure fire, commanding without needing to prove anything. I wasn't just trying to be a girl guitarist. I was trying to burn the goddamn place down. And she paved the way for women who wanted to shred, not just sing. Wendy O. Williams, Anarchy in a Mohawk. So no list is complete without Wendy O. Williams. She is easily the most confrontational and chaotic figure in early crossover punk metal history. As frontwoman of the Plasmatics, she chainsawed guitars, blew up cars on stage, and pushed every boundary imaginable.
Hey, Wendy, where you going? Hey, Wendy, what you doing? You know I say those stupid motherfuckers up in there, bozos! I say that's none of your business!
When she pivoted to the metal of the early 80s, it was the subtlety of Detonation. Wow in '84. It was produced by Gene Simmons and featured members of Kiss. But her follow-up, Commander of Chaos in '86, was pure sonic violence. This woman was unpredictable. She was fearless, never faked it for fame. Her impact is still felt by bands who mix punk, metal, and performance art. She absolutely made danger artistic. You want a show? I'll give you an effing war zone, she often said. So to wrap it up, the women of this era weren't side acts. They weren't trends. They weren't foundations. They wrote the riffs, roared the lyrics, and stomped down the trail that so many walk today. But what happens when metal gets heavier? Well, in part 2, we'll dive into the women of death metal, black metal, doom, and beyond, the screamers, the growlers. The witches who wielded extreme sound like a weapon. So which of these pioneers do you think deserves more recognition? Drop your pick in the comments. I'm sure I forgot many. Can't mention them all. But if there's someone we missed, call it out. Smash like, hit subscribe. Let's get ready for part 2. Scream Queens and Death Growls. This is Headbangers History. If you're down, I can roll straight into it. Oh.